of not being hurt by whatever rocks or waterfalls happen. And that's where the total letting go of trying to have life be my way, because there's no one to protect anymore. The one I would protect is life itself. Life will never be hurt. Life will never go anywhere. Life will never be anything less than the totality it is. And so the pure freedom of rushing down the river and seeing all the beauty that's here as life itself is that's where the joy is. That's where the freedom is. That's where the life and the love is, and all of it is right here. And I didn't have to go anywhere, nor do I have to fear anything. And you see, trying to manipulate life is because I fear life. And now there's no fear of whatever happens. I don't care what happens. It's like wild. It's so cool. It's like I don't care, and that's the freedom. That's the beauty. That's the love, and that's why when people want to manipulate or use the secret or get what they want, I'm just like, no, because that's still fear-based, that things aren't going to be the way I personally would want them. But fear has no part in this. So without fear, it's like fear is actually closer to what one might call a sense of separation is actually fear. I wouldn't call it so much, maybe we shouldn't even call it so much ego as calling it fear,
Well, that's the driver.
Yeah, it is the driver. It is fear, because you think you are separate. And that's why people want to grab onto this consciousness and make it work for them, because they're afraid. And once you realize you are that, and there's where would fear be in this? It's so miraculously.
You'd have to be afraid of yourself.
Yes, you would be afraid of yourself.
And that would be patently insane and perfectly obvious.
Exactly, yeah.
I had a haiku once that basically said, here's the plain text version of it. You're being, obviously you exist, right? Okay, I exist as I presently think and feel I am. Okay, is everything you're looking at it, is it being too? Yeah, it's being. So if you're afraid of what's out there, then it's being afraid of being.
Exactly, and that's all it comes down to, and that's all that if I could write some words, and if they're very, kind of out there and poetic, and that's all I want to say is you're being it. Just love what you're being. Love everything about yourself. And I love you the way you're being. And that's what feels so lovely. I mean, I'm just so in love with everything. Let me just love you the way you are. You're so beautiful. And it's like, wow, this feeling of and yet everyone and everything is so individually beautiful in their own individual way. I mean, that's all I want to do is just express how I feel about how amazing this journey has been for me. It's like I just want to say, dear life, I love you. Thank you for all this. This is incredible, and how good God is. It's like being a praise to God without sounding religious or holy is what I'm doing. I'm just loving it as the very sensual and amazing beauty that this world is, and I'm living it. It's who I am. It's myself, and that's all. That's what I want to give, and we'll see if I can do what I do.
You're doing very well, Sandy. What's coming up is I have and this is very unusual for quote-unquote rich, I don't really want to split intellectual hairs at all. In other words, I don't want to divide the wholeness that I feel coming out of the other end of this phone, basically, with my mind. Even regardless of whether it's a valid point or not, it's making one of those distinctions, and just obviously, right now, you're a perfect expression of living love. That's pretty much what you're obviously born to do, and it certainly translates the 5 hours from here to the West Coast, basically.
Oh, that's really sweet. And, when you say I don't, intellectually, I don't want to, say this or say that. And yet, here's what's so cool. This is what's so exciting to me, is we could have a discussion about all the intellectual chaos and commotion in the world, and politics and wars and hatred and divisions, and I could enjoy the conversation with you. That's what's so amazing. We could laugh, we could say, yeah, and look what they do, and look at this and look at that, and the peace, the love, the light that encompasses all that is right here, is seeing all that and enjoying our conversation and our ability to intellectualize and pull things apart and look at all that, and yet the wholeness is never disturbed by it. It's never, I don't get, we won't get pulled into that as we got to go fix it, but we can understand it and look at it and enjoy the beauty of how wild it all is and how crazy it all is, and that it's all okay. It's all perfectly okay. It's just, going through the rapids in this river. What a wild thing to watch all this, because, as I say, the water in the river isn't going to get hurt by it. So I love that too. I love that all these parts and pieces are there, and they're all distinctly interesting and amazing, and we can do that too,
Oh, well, yeah, I wasn't referring about disturbing you. I was referring about disturbing the enjoyment that I'm getting in your presence right now.
Right. No, I realize that, but I was just wanting to say, it's so all-inclusive. I'm just fascinated, I'm just like, wow, this is so much fun.
Well,
so much fun that I can converse with anybody about anything, and it's perfectly valid what they're saying, and the joy of, let's say, anybody who comes into my life and they've got, this happened or that happened or this is going on or that's going on. It's part of the totality of the joy of this, and it really is that third place. It is that third position where you get to do it all while remaining in this all-inclusive peace, this all-abiding peace, and yet you get to enjoy all aspects of yourself. That's why I keep going. I'm so excited about this. It's like, you guys, wait, God is really cool.
I know. Come on over here and look.
Oh, this is so cool. Come on, you guys, this is great. That's all I want to do, is just like run around going, come on, kids, jump in. This is so fun.
How should we say? I got sucked into the quantum physics about 2 or 3 weeks ago again. Something that came up, I needed a reference, and the next thing I know, I got 5 different books, and my understanding of it is becoming almost visceral, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that there's a guy named let's see if I can remember it here. It's Samuel Avery. Now, if you put that in the website, he basically is an activist, but he's basically wed about 40 years worth of Buddhist meditation with quantum physics and has a how should we say, an alternative theory to materialism in terms of how consciousness actually structures everything we're looking at. I won't get into any of those details, but at one point in time, he's saying a thought essentially is a momentary point. It just pops up and goes away almost instantaneously, whereas a sensation has more endurance in time. And that almost sounds like the divine marriage that we're talking about here, where I can never forget that I am the background and enjoy the foreground simultaneously, which the mind, that's a paradox to the mind. It's either the front of the coin or the back of the coin. The whole coin, doesn't compute to the mind, basically.
Exactly. And yes, once you leap in, that's a really good way to say that, is you do see the whole coin. I mean, you start living from a perspective of you get to enjoy the whole coin, completely. And since you see it in wholeness, there's not a problem here. And that's the third position. That's where I always go back to that beautiful, why did they call it a Holy Trinity? That's exactly why, because there's this third position that includes both subjective and object, both sides of the coin. Or often I think of it, the cup. A cup wouldn't be a cup. It wouldn't hold anything if it didn't have an outside of the cup and an inside of the cup. It's total. It includes both in order to be what it's used for. And so that's what we start seeing it in its totality and its wholeness. And yet, I'm not either subjective or objective. I am something that is beyond them both, untouchable, beyond them both. So yeah, and the sensation, it's very true. I have come to realize, and that's part of the book too, is I want to say, and yet I don't want to emphasize it so much because it's not completely this, but it is much more about feeling life, like feeling life, like you're up against life, like life and you are one, like you're intimately making love to life. And I'm just going, okay, this is a feeling. This isn't anything to do with an intellectual concept. This isn't an idea. This is more raw than that. This is like I'm feeling life as within me, as all of me, and I'm going to, maybe if I kind of point more towards this openness of feeling it, maybe that might be another direction for people to be able to trust it a little more, because it's right here. It's the presence. It's the living presence. It's holding us all the time. It's with us all the time. It doesn't go anywhere. This presence is what I am. I am it. It's my soulmate. It's my life. It's who I am. It's the very vitality and awareness that I am right now. It's always with me. It can't go anywhere. So there is a feeling there, and yet if I go down that road, then people become kind of they get a little lost and wait a minute, what's she talking about? And so I go, maybe that's a way to go, but I'm not quite sure of it, because I don't want to mislead people into like a physical, like so much physicality or anything. It's like, no, it's deeper than that.